Paul Christian. Paul Christian Namfi. Paul Christian Namfi. Jose Dominguez. Deferred. Samantha Gazda. Deferred. Thank you. And Yvonne Lanza. Deferred? Okay. All right, so that is all the public speakers I have. I want to go back to those that reserved. I want to go back to the ones that reserved. So I have Sebastian Caicedo. Sebastian Caicedo. Thomas?
I'm Sebastian Caicedo, but I just want to, so I guess my question with my statement is, what I heard, I'm Sebastian Caicedo, Regional Director for Florida Rising, 10800 Biscayne Boulevard, Miami-Dade County, 33161.
So you're going to speak?
I want to ask you a question before I speak, if I may. It's not clear. I think it will help the commission too. It sounds to me.
Unfortunately, if I allow you, I have to. It's considered public hearing. That's why I had them.
It was still not answered necessarily. So
Can a separate attorney? Okay, the commissioner is going to meet with you. Commissioner himself is going to speak with you. Luisa Suarez. Thomas. Yes. Yes, you're able to speak. Yes, you'd be the first one, and it will.
Great.
You're going to do this?
Speak? Yeah, I'll speak.
You understand what's going on, right?
Yeah, basically, you guys are ratifying this.
No, we're not.
Retroactively. I mean, is the agreement executed? Like, is the BOA executed? And is it in place? Are you guys getting reimbursed right now?
Not by this board, no. We have not taken any action.
Right, but the BOA has been previously approved.
Okay, if I continue to engage, I have to open a public hearing, and then it will not be.
I'll just speak on the merits of it. Okay.
So you're going to speak on it?
Correct.
Okay, all right. That's okay though. I mean, the public hearing will be had, and if this item comes back, no one will have the opportunity to speak.
Let me try. Come on, guys. Can we get a little quietness back into this?
You have your right to. You're in your right to speak. We welcome it. This is why this process exists. But there's a procedure. It's not. I didn't make it up. I'm just the one orchestrating the.
Mr. Chairman, I'll speak with Tomas on the side, and I'll speak with him with the county attorney.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So that. Sebastian is on the side. Tomas, and then I had Luisa Suarez that I was going to go back to. Luisa Suarez. She's still outside? Okay, well, I'm about to. Okay, we need to get Luisa back in here, though. Okay, we're going to give her a minute, but I need to know her.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Can I get a clarification from the attorney's office?
Bermudez from?
From the attorney's office.
Absolutely. Madam Attorney, you're recognized for Commissioner Bermudez's clarification.
Madam Attorney, and I'd like to get a clear answer. I think all of us want to give everybody, whether they agree or disagree with any of us or the mayor, the opportunity to speak. I think the confusion that's occurred is that if we open it up to public hearing, the item is no longer in our hands. It's been actually now passed on to the mayor, Because that's in essence what we did, correct? For the mayor to take the determination on behalf of this commission. Is that correct?
Yes, this board has delegated the authority to the mayor to execute agreements such as this one that are required to be entered into pursuant to federal or state law. This county is required to enter into this agreement pursuant to state law.
Okay, on the public speaking portion of it, because I think that's where the confusion comes. If the item was passed on and not being heard today, correct? Is that correct? By us? Not the original item is what I'm speaking.
The motion to defer is on, this item is going to be deferred.
Okay.
11A2 will be deferred, and the chair opened it up to the speakers to decide whether they wish to speak today.
I believe the confusion comes from the fact that if the item comes back, these individuals want to be able to speak. Correct?
The chair, yes, the chair has said that everybody who has signed up to speak on 11A2 has the ability to either speak today, because if they're here, or they could wait, and if the item is brought back, when it's brought back, they would have the opportunity, if they did not speak today, to speak on the item at that point in time. And he has left that at the discretion of the speakers.
Okay, so here's my question. Leaving it at the discretion of the speakers, does opening up the public hearing today to one person make it impossible or make it not possible for the other individuals that have agreed to speak at a later date if it comes back to speak?
Yes, it does, Commissioner Bermudez.
Okay, and that's my concern. So,
It's been the
because
practice of this board.
if in fact one person speaks, then I don't want to have a chilling effect on the other people being able to speak. I don't think it's democratic. I don't think it's proper. So if no one speaks, I'm fine with the motion to defer. But other than that, I'm not going to support it.
Correct. That's exactly. I'm with you. I am with you. That is exactly what we've been trying to explain. All right. So I have one person left to decide.
Through the chair.
One second, Madam Mayor. 1 second. I wanna get through this. Was it Sandra? Luisa Suarez.
I'm the only one who didn't defer.
You're the only one that has not deferred yet. Correct. You're the last one. You may speak, ma'am. You may speak. There's no pressure. But I just want to make sure you understand the.
Can you please, Mr. Chair, to the chair, can you please explain it again?
No.
Clarify it again.
I've explained it 17 times. You explained it very well, actually. J.C. Bermudez just clarified it.
Mr. Chair, that is if one of them speaks, then no one else.
Correct.
Speak for everybody else.
Correct.
Okay.
If one of them speaks, public hearing will be open and then closed. And they could all speak at that point, by the way, today. Everyone will have an opportunity to speak, not just one person. But if this item ever comes back, they will not have that opportunity granted again, a second time. You speak once on every item, has been the practice of this board, and we all know this. This is not new to any commissioner on this board, that public hearing is had one time in the history of the item. Whether sometimes that happens in committee, sometimes that happens in the full board, but it happens once. They have the opportunity to do it today. Everyone has deferred their right to speak in the event that this item comes back, so that they can speak on the item when it comes back. So I just need from Luisa Suarez, if she is going to speak. Luisa? Luisa, what is your decision? She is here. Luisa, I need a decision.
Is there some names after me?
No. Deferring or speaking? All right. I'm gonna close public hearing. Luisa. No, wait. No. I've been waiting. I've been very.
Hard, because I'm one person and I don't want people on me.
Okay,
Through the chair.
ma'am. No. Guys, All right, we've been on this for a while. I've been more than understanding, Curtis, and it's very simple. You have your right to speak. We want you to speak.
Mr. Chair,
I see the commissioner. Give me a second. I need an answer from.
I'm going to speak.
They got explained.
I have it.
It's not the ice one, though.
Okay.
All right, we are going to
right.
have public hearing now. If this item wants to come back to the board, there is no public hearing that will be had on this item. Okay? You have a minute to speak, please.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Bastien.
to the chair.
Hold on, because I have Commissioner Hardiman that has been raising his hand as well. Give me a second, ma'am. Commissioner Hardiman. I'm in public hearing right now. We've gone through a list just to bring you up to speed. We've gone through a list of 30 some odd speakers. They've all deferred their time, except for now the last speaker who is going to speak. I will call it, this will be considered public hearing. So if this item was to return, it may not, but if it does, they will not have an opportunity to be heard again under public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I apologize for my tardiness. I was in court earlier, but I've been following it, on my drive here, and we just have to be intellectually honest with everyone, right? Yes, our procedure is that public hearing is allowed to be heard one time in the course of any resolution or ordinance, but we as a body, we do have the ability to allow public hearing to happen again if we so choose to. It doesn't mean that it will happen. This board may decide against that, but it's just the truth of the matter. And so everyone is deferred. This is a very tough decision for most of them. They've deferred their time. If she wants to speak, allow her to speak, and then we move on. If we have a public hearing at the next hearing, it's the next hearing. 2 minutes shouldn't, absolutely tank it. Everyone has thought well enough of each other to allow the time to defer to the next hearing. If we allow this one person to speak on public hearing, I think that it'd just be fair that everyone else gets an opportunity to speak at the next time. They've already deferred their time. I think if we're going to do it, let's not, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
If I'm the chair at the time, and unless I'm overwritten, I will continue the practice of this board historically, and they will have one opportunity to do public hearing. I've been more than kind. You just got here, as you stated, but the last 20, 30 minutes, I have been more than understanding, and all my colleagues know.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying to the board is that at the next hearing, if we're talking about one person speaking for 2 minutes, for instance, we've been now just trying to decide this for a number of minutes. So one person speaking.
It's not one person, Commissioner.
She's one person.
No, she's one person, but if
everyone
she
else is
speaks
deferred.
Right now,
I got it.
If she speaks right now, I will call everyone else up because they need the same opportunity.
You don't have to, though.
No, it's the right thing to do because they opted to defer their time to preserve their time for the next public hearing.
I understand that, but my point to you in all of this, this is all I'm saying, and I'll cease talking about this main issue. But when you pit one independent citizen against the rest of them in the matter of, whether or not they can speak and what it's going to, like the impact that it has on everyone else, it's just a tough decision to make. And that's why I think you see this sort of anxiety about it all.
I'm sympathetic to that. That's why I have allowed this to go on this long, which is not normal for this chamber. I promise you that. So, ma'am, you have your 1 minute to speak. You have to state your name and address. And public hearing is now open officially.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, you forgot
Before,
about
Mr. Chairman,
No.
You forgot about me.
We're
You forgot about me.
okay, but I'm in public hearing. What are we going at this again? Commissioner Bastien, you're recognized.
Yes. I'm concerned because unbeknown to me was the fact that if one person speaks, Mr. Chair, are you listening? Yeah, through you. If one person speaks, then if this item comes back, no. Let me correct this. If one person speaks, she speaks for all the others who haven't spoken.
No, Commissioner, I need you to pay attention to the chair when I'm speaking because I just clarified that. I am going to open a public hearing because Luisa Suarez wishes to speak and exercise her right to speak, she will have a minute to speak, but that will constitute public hearing being open.
Okay.
And I will then, that I don't need to, because they've now on the record deferred their time, I will go back to them and we will have public hearing open today. And all that have signed up will have the opportunity to speak their 1 minute on the item and the deferral today. They will not be granted this opportunity again when if and when it comes back to this board.
Those who spoke today. Those who
No. Nobody. Public hearing will be closed on this item.
So I tend to support what Commissioner Hardeman was saying, is that we are policymakers. Yes, this is the way it's been done over the years. Just because it's been done this way over the years, that doesn't mean that we, as policymakers,
Commissioner
we
Bastian,
cannot change it.
Commissioner Bastian, again, I just clarified that would be my will, and this board can opt differently. But it has been the practice of this board on very controversial matters, just as this one. Very important matters, very humane matters, very emotional matters. That has always been the practice of this board. Preceding my time as chair, I do not make the rules.
But
I implement them. We make them cohesively.
To the chair, will you concede that just because something has been done one way doesn't mean that we cannot change things?
Commissioner, I'm
Will
going to
you concede?
continue with my meeting because we're going in circles. I'm going to continue with my meeting. Luisa Suarez, you have a minute to speak, ma'am. Please state your name and address.
On 11A2 only, correct?
On 11A2, ma'am. You still have opportunity to speak on other items.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Luisa and reside in District 3, Commissioner Hardeman's district, who's actually the one who proposed to defer and maybe cause this commotion. I'm here to oppose resolutions 11A2 through 11A4, but we'll be speaking about 11A2. Sponsored by Commissioner Gonzalez. I do question why I oppose resolution 11A2 and do not want it to pass. Not here to plead with anyone. Ultimately, if this resolution is passed, I ask Mayor Cava to veto it. I do question why you, Commissioner Gonzalez, are the sponsor of this bill. As a non-birthright citizen, you came to the U.S. at the age of 2 in the 90s and didn't become a citizen until 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your legal proceedings took 10 years. I imagine you wouldn't be in the U.S. or in your county commissioner seat if masked violent aggressors took you illegally away inside immigration court while your lawyer was in the bathroom or while the judge is printing a document that protects you from inhumane detentions. So I don't understand the hypocrisy or intentional threat to our...
Point of order.
All right, so a few things. So, guys, please don't make me regret this. Don't make me regret this. Don't. 1 minute is 1 minute. Thank you means your 1 minute is up. Do not ruin it for the rest of the people. I am very tempted right now. Guys, I'm going to call everybody else's name. Please do not address commissioners by name. You address the entire body. And you respect the chamber. And you act with decorum. Be respectful of others that want to speak as well. You have to be respectful of the other 30 some odd people that drove out here this morning and also wish to speak or may wish to speak. If you go over time, if you're out of order, it will not be the case. I'm going to go ahead and call everybody's name again. And if you still wish to defer, that's okay. But if you wish to come up and speak, you will be granted that opportunity.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Point of order.
I've been waiting patiently.
Senator Garcia, you have been waiting patiently, yes.
Listen, and I appreciate your leadership. This is a very difficult decision, but I hope we understand, commissioners, for us that get elected and believe in the First Amendment, we all do. It's important to understand that there's a flaw in our rules, and I think it's something that we should reconsider and look at and try to fix because we have abilities to do reasonable opportunity, and making sure that those that take their time to be here and speak get that opportunity, maybe not speak on another item. So I understand that the chairman is following the rules. Those are the rules, the traditional rules of this board. And I'm not trying to go away from those rules right now, but I think in the future we should really take a look at them and take a deeper look to make sure that we don't waste people's times, because a lot of times we come up here and we defer items and people have driven from down south, from up north, and it becomes cumbersome. So I hope this shows us an example of how we need to fix some of our rules. So
Commissioner Gilbert for.
Thank you. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. And to correct you, it wasn't Commissioner Hardiman who made the motion to defer. It was me. It's just. Yeah, he seconded it, so it's tricky, but you know, I'm the one who's on time. Apparently. Mr. Chairman, my point of order is simply this, and it's a concern that I have because I understand the temperature around this issue. I don't want you all to think that we necessarily agree with what's going on in the country. But that's not actually what's before us. What's before us is the detainer agreement. And so you spoke, and I paid attention attentively to your remarks. But your remarks weren't about the item. They weren't about the item. So if we were actually faithfully and with some degree of fidelity enforcing our rules, you would have been cut off. So if we're going to do public hearing, I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with us doing public hearing. I'm comfortable with sitting here patiently and listening to everyone. But remember, it's on the detainer agreement. It's not on mass ICE agents. It's not on raiding work sites. It's not on any of those things. That's not before this board. If that were before this board, the issue will be positioned differently, substantially. What's before us is, unless I'm incorrect about this, Madam Attorney, is an agreement that has already been executed by the mayor. That's required. She didn't have a choice. So she can execute the agreement or be removed from office, essentially, or eligible. That's it. She's executed the agreement. She didn't have a choice. State law required, the same state law that we all raise our hand and take an oath to abide. It's the same state law. So when your comments come up, I anticipate that 30, 40, how many people come up, you speak? Remember, it's about that agreement. And remember that when we vote about that agreement, whether people will be held over for 48 hours and we get $50 or whatever, that's what's before us right now. Not all the other stuff. I understand this is an emotional issue that's sweeping the country, it's sweeping South Florida. It's very important to us. 53% of the people who live here were born in another country. It's important to us. But none of those things are before us, for this body. And so as you all come to the microphone and you speak, remember that at some point the chairman, who is a very patient chairman, because I think, you know, his patience will run if it's not focused on the issue that is before us. And so I think that's important. This is not about a larger immigration issue. This is about the detainer that the mayor was required to sign. And in some respects, we're required to ratify. And in even greater respect, we've already ratified. We've given her the authority previously with a motion. So I just wanted us to be clear, just position this so that everyone understands what's about to happen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Commissioner, I'm going only to those that have not spoken at this point. We're not going to do this. It's Commissioner Gonzalez and then Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think that Commissioner Oliver Gilbert explained that very eloquently. And for all of you folks that came out today, thank you for coming out. We definitely want to hear you speak. But what you have to understand is that the mayor has already agreed to this. She signed this in March. The only reason this was brought forward is because we're not getting paid for it. That's the only reason. I'm looking at this in a fiscal perspective. We have a $400 million deficit. The administration can explain whether we're getting reimbursed or not. All this does is make them reimburse us. That's it. All this does is make the federal government reimburse us for what the administration, I have been told, I don't know if this is true, I have been told the administration has been doing this since 2019. That's not us. That's what the mayor and the administration has been doing. I just want to make sure that if this is true, we are being compensated by the federal government and we don't continue to go into a deficit. That's it.
Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you. Just to clarify a point or two, I think we've already explained that this is a procedural issue and it's not reflective of our views on this. This is about our compliance with state and federal law. The only thing that I would add to this is that I think some of this chaos was created by the fact that there wasn't quorum at committee. This should have been held at committee. Normally, we have public hearing at committee, and then you have a second opportunity at the BCC. Unfortunately, that didn't happen at committee, which led us to this point. This is an item that should have been dispensed of in committee, is my opinion. And the only thing that I would add is, coming here to speak is important, but we've also read your emails and gotten your messages, and we understand what the issues are. So the only thing that I wanted to clarify beyond what has been mentioned by my colleagues is that the amount that the federal government is giving us is not sufficient by any means, nor has it ever been. This has been an ongoing issue for many years. So for us to hold someone at our jails for 48 hours, it's between 460 to 580, depending on the capacity of our jails. So for those that have brought up that the $50 is not sufficient, we're aware of that. And this actually is a point that has been litigated. However, this is a one-sided agreement that is brought to us to either accept or deny. And if the administration has anything to add on the amount, because I know some of the emails and some of the calls spoke to the amount, it is what it is. Like, we have been offered this is the rate, and they don't want to hear any specifics on if this is sufficient or not. And obviously part of a much broader conversation that should be had at the federal level, because this is not what this regulatory body does. We just happen to operate the jails. And that's why we're involved in this. Similarly, we no longer have a police force. So even the agreement that was ratified was really about the sheriff, because we no longer have a police force. So we are only stakeholders in this because we are the operators of the jails. And that was something that I brought up some time ago. And there is an item pending on that issue that I hope comes to this board at some time. But I think that there is definitely some confusion as to the public hearing part. There would have been an opportunity to speak at committee, and then there would have been an opportunity to speak here. But what we're discussing right now is a deferral, because we already passed an item giving the mayor the authority to deal with the $50. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Regalado.
Through the chair.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to all of the commissioners and to the public that's come to talk about a very, very difficult and painful topic. I encourage you to speak. It's important that you speak. It's important for people to know your concerns about this item. As has been stated by our Madam Attorney and by our commissioners, this is not something about which I have a choice. This is the law of Florida, and it was required that this agreement be signed. It came to the board as a routine matter for ratification, and it will no longer be required to go to the board for ratification, because it's acknowledged that this is a requirement of state law. That to be said, it doesn't mean that this is the wish of this body, as has been stated. It's important for you to speak as concerned members of our community. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and call up those that still wish to speak. Camila Ramos. Camila Ramos. Isabela Oces. Isabela Oces. Andrea Riveron. Wish to speak or defer? This is going to be quick. We're not doing this a second round the same way we did it the first round. All right. You have 1 minute. Andrea Riveron, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Andrea Riveron. I live in 1114 Southwest 12th Avenue. I realize that this item is not on the agenda today, but I would like to voice that this is a bad deal for taxpayers. The reimbursement doesn't even come close to covering the cost of detention. And I'm really disappointed in the way that this public comment is being managed today, because we should be discussing it when it's actually on the agenda and we have a way to impact the way that this governing body moves the item. In addition, I want to use my time here to urge you to take action about the ICE detention facility being built in the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport in Big Cypress. You should sue to make that stop. Thank you.
Let's stay on the item, guys. Thank you, Ms. Riveron. Thomas Kennedy.
Okay, well, thanks for the opportunity, I guess. Yeah, I just think this is a really bad...
Name and address for the record.
Thomas Kennedy, is 6601 Northwest First Place, zip code 33150. Yeah, this is just a really bad deal for the county. I mean, the amount negotiated for reimbursement doesn't even come close to covering the cost for detention. We've already met the legal requirement under Statute 908.11 to sign a 287G agreement. I understand that there is legal opinion that the basic ordering agreement is required, but again, it's quite frankly not a fiscally responsible agreement, because once again, this doesn't even come close to covering the over $300 that it costs to detain people in county jails. Moreover, the public records piece is concerning to us and disturbing, the fact that people could be disappeared within county jails, within the system. We actually offered language that has been, I believe, emailed. We gave it to the mayor's team yesterday. We gave it to Commissioner Bastien. We can share with anybody else. It's very simple addendum language change that would ensure that people can be tracked in the system. Also, you guys should sue against Alligator Alcatraz.
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Kennedy.
$195 million land. It's outrageous that it's being stolen from us.
Might just close public hearing. What do you guys think? Should we just close public hearing? Those people aren't being respectful. All right. You got to respect your colleagues. People that came out here to speak on this item. Don't sound confused. Don't look confused. I mean, you know what you did. Alberto Beck. What was that? Deferred. Okay. Hannah Lokop. Hannah? Giancarlo Castellanos. Giancarlo Castellanos. Richel Vargas. Richel Vargas.
Hi, good morning. My name is Richel Maria Vargas, and I live in District 10. And here are my concerns for this BOA. As per Florida statutes, the county has already signed.
Your address, please.
4532 Southwest 136th Place, 33175. The county has already signed into a 287G agreement, so it's my understanding that there's no further legal obligation to sign this basic ordering agreement. Number two, this agreement is fiscally irresponsible. My concern is that taxpayers will bear the fiscal brunt and that critical public services will be cut to make up for the remaining amount that's not reimbursed. And I'm concerned about the BOA blocking the county from releasing public records about the people detained within its jails. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ana Sofia Pelaez.
Hello, my name is Ana Sofia Pelaez. I'm at 1825 Southwest 21st Avenue, and I'm here to speak on 11A2, raising my concerns about language related to public records and public accountability for detainees. By entering into the agreement with 2087G agreement with ICE, the county has a responsibility to operate with more transparency, not less. Nor is it absolved of the fiscal and legal liabilities that this agreement is creating for our county, and we can and will continue to make those arguments through the life of this harmless and reckless collaboration. But today we can keep it simple and urge you to treat those apprehended and caught up in this cruel and unjust system as you would your own family and friends, because in this county they quite literally are. My own family came from Cuba, and our community is at its best when it's receiving refugees and extending opportunity to others. We began this session honoring the passing of one of our históricos. We know what they represented, the welcome and advocacy they voiced for those fleeing oppression. Today, our larger Miami immigrant community is hurting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Z Spicer. Z Spicer. Camilo Mejia. Camilo Mejia. Camilo Mejia. Ira Kurzban. Ira left. James Carls. James Carls. Sebastian Caicedos. Juanita Alvarez.
Sebastian Caicedo.
Sebastian.
Yeah. My name is Sebastian Caicedo. My address is 10800 Biscayne Boulevard, Miami, Florida 33160, Suite 1050. I am the regional director for Florida Rising. I'm speaking on behalf of our members across the county. We hear in oppose of this. I mean, we hear all what you say, but very concerned about how this erodes the constitutional guarantee of the due process, creates legal liability for the county, undermines the county safety and trust of the law enforcement, and many more things. And I heard a lot about humanity. I heard a lot about like speak up because we need to. But I also saw like this commission carrying out a woman that had a question of the process. And I think this commission owes an apology to that woman because it shouldn't be that way. And that, Mr. Chair,
Continue, sir. I'm here.
oh, thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, she had a question about the process.
Thank you. Your time is up.
And
I
she wasn't
appreciate you.
listening. She shouldn't be pushed
Thank you.
away.
Let me thank you so much, and I know the chairman has been very patient with each and every last one of you. Sergeants, can you do us a favor? When the 1 minute mark is there, please feel free, if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, to politely let them know.
Juanita Alvarez. Juanita Alvarez. Dian Alarcon. Dian Alarcon. Dian Alarcon. Myra Garcia. Myra Garcia. Will Mann.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Will Mann. I'm a lawyer with the Community Justice Project at 3000 Biscayne Boulevard. I won't go over the points about how bad of a deal this is, since procedurally it's already passed, but I just want to call on the board and the mayor to do what they can do and supplement their duty to protect our immigrant communities, especially around transparency. I appreciate that the mayor and Mr. Reyes have said publicly that they will not block access to information about ICE detainees and the ICE detainer report from advocates, families, and journalists, but I'd ask that you say publicly on the record that the inmate search tool online and the ICE detainer reports that the county currently maintains will remain state public records under Florida Statutes 119. I'd also like to call on the mayor and commission to do everything you can to oppose Alligator Alcatraz. It is an absolute humanitarian catastrophe, and it is your responsibility to speak up, file a lawsuit, and do everything you can. Thank you.
All right. Once again, let's try to stay on topic, guys. Steffi Porter. Steffi Porter. Yanelis Valdez. Yanelis. Marcelo Valladares.
Hello, Marcelo Valladares, 16171 Southwest 73rd Street. I am here to oppose 11A2 and ask you all, where is the line? When will you stand up for our community? And I'm talking about more than just an Instagram post or a letter. Will it be when they've gotten the residents who have had their temporary protected status revoked, when they go after the homegrowns, or when they go after someone that you know and love? Or will you continue to turn a blind eye to those who look to you for any signs of hope, who have come here on a similar journey to many of us, but have not been so lucky with their set of circumstances? You may face consequences for defending our community, but you have to let those consequences come. And when you look back, remember this time, remember that you tried and didn't just let our opportunities and our freedoms be eroded away from us. Passing this item opens up the possibility for those detained to be disappeared by removing ownership of public records from the county, a behavior that many of you have claimed to be against when done in countries like Cuba or Venezuela, but seem to have little qualms with here. So please stand up with those who most need it and oppose this agreement and oppose alligator Alcatraz. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valladares. Silvia Munoz. Silvia Munoz.
Hi, my name is Silvia Munoz. I live in 3546 Estepona Avenue. That's in Doral, Florida. I come to you today as a Cuban American who arrived here in 1961, and I was given all the opportunities to stay legally in this country. I am sure many of you are either immigrants or descendants and benefited like I did, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Today, our immigrant neighbors, friends, and family members are under attack by a government that has labeled them all as criminal just for getting stuck in a broken immigration system. The proposal being considered here that I understand is already passed is not only fiscally irresponsible, but also erodes the constitutional rights and due process. In the meantime, our community safety is jeopardized because of lack of trust in law enforcement. This agreement will also facilitate the disappearance of our immigrant friends, neighbors, and family members. Just imagine that your loved one disappears without a trace. A lot have lived through.
Thank you. Jael Portillo. Jael Portillo. Jael Portillo. All right. Frank O'Loughlin. Ariel Rojas. Ariel Rojas.
Right here. My name is Ariel Rojas. My address is 9741 Fontainebleau Boulevard. I work in construction. I work alongside citizens, residents, TPS holders, paroleros. 3 weeks ago, one of our guys was detained. It's unfortunate, but we knew where he was, and we knew how he was treated. And that's something that's very important. This resolution 1182, that's what matters to us, making sure that we know where they are and that they're being treated fairly. So I urge you to take that into consideration, that we have neighbors, we have loved ones that we care about, and we need to stand up for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rojas. Lindsay McElroy. Lindsay McElroy. Maria Bilbao. Maria Bilbao.
My name is Maria Bilbao. I work with the American Friends Service Committee. I live in 1351 Northeast 191 Street. I speak today as a woman who lives in this county, as an immigrant, and as a community organizer who receives every single day a call from a people being detained. Government DeSantis is using cruelty as a political theater. And by supporting the 287G agreement, you are helping him to do it. Now he wants to build a detention camp as a political theater in the Everglades, surrounded by alligators and the Florida extreme heat and land that befall to this county. We are asking about workers, about moms, dads, neighbors, real people who have helped build this country. Instead, protecting them, the government is arresting them, locking them up, and making them disappear. The agreement you are voting on today, but you are not voting on today, but that agreement.
Thank you so much. We have Amy Morales. Amy Morales.
Hi, my name is Tenny Ann. However, I am speaking on behalf of Amy Morales because she was forcibly removed. My name is Amy Morales.
Are you registered to speak?
I'm speaking on behalf of
It doesn't-
Amy Morales.
Ma'am, it doesn't work this way, but are you registered to speak? Can we get her registered, please, after she speaks? Go ahead.
My name is Amy Morales, Policy Director at...
Your name is Amy Morales?
I'm speaking on behalf
Okay,
of Amy
go ahead.
Morales.
Go ahead.
My name is Amy Morales, Policy Director at Engage Miami, and I live at 89-1 Southwest 9th Street. I'm here today not just as a resident, but as the daughter of a parent that was deported in 2009. We used to talk about all the ways we would prepare if it happened, who we would call, and what we would do. But when it happens, you're overwhelmed with the reality of grieving a living parent. I don't know what my mom, brother, and I would have done had we not been able to locate my dad. And that's what's at stake today. I echo what everyone's already shared before me, and I urge you to vote no on 11A2. Given the budget shortfall, spending $25 to jail a person is not the best use of our taxpayer dollar.
Thank you.
I request
All
that I
right,
get an
Paul
extra
Christian
15
Namfi.
seconds because you were speaking
No, ma'am.
during my 15 seconds.
Paul Christian Namfi. May I approach?
Paul Christian Amphi, 1275 Northwest 123rd Street. Distinguished Mayor and Commissioners, we are here to highlight the dangerous aspects of the BOA detainer agreement. And I believe that Will Mann gave all of the reasons why we need to speak out of this, even though we know that this is moving forward. We all have our reasons. I want to speak specifically about the dangers of disappearances. And many of the people on this, the county, the community that we represent is of disappeared people, of people from Argentina, from Haiti, Kurds, Chileans, Central Americans who have lived through this. And I simply want to uplift in the remainder of my time Lovinsky Pierre-Antoine, who was a human rights advocate in Haiti. He founded Fondation 30 Septembre. He disappeared on August 12th, 2007. He was never heard from again. We can't go down this road. Even 1% down this road is too much. We need to make sure that we have full accountability for our community members, their family. They know where they are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Jose Dominguez. Jose Dominguez, followed by Samantha Gazda. And then Yvonne Lanza. You may line up. Samantha Gazda and Yvonne Lanza, you may line up ready to speak.
Hi, thank you. My name is Jose Dominguez, 528 Northwest 98th Street, 33150. I'm here to speak against the item 11A2. I think folks have done a great job at talking about the financial aspects, lifting up the disappearances of folks. I'm a community organizer with Power Youth Center for Social Change. I've been on the ground in community in Little Haiti, Allapattah, Liberty City, Overtown, etc. And our people are scared. And I think they have a good reason to be afraid. They do not trust you, right? We hear you all say we are doing what we are legally required to do. We are afraid of being removed from office. My question is, what is going to be required? To what degree are you all going to take these attacks on our people and say this is okay because we're legally required to do this? Our people do not trust you, and I want to urge this commission to do whatever you can to be transparent, to communicate with our folks, because there's also a lot of misinformation. People don't know it's true or it's not true. Please do what you can to support our folks.
Samantha Gazda and Yvonne Lanza.
Hello, Samantha Gazda, 1503 Granada Boulevard, Coral Gables. Distinguished Mayor and Commissioners, I'm a proud Miami native and the granddaughter of Cuban immigrants. I'm here to speak in strong opposition to 1182, particularly the lack of transparency regarding public record. Residents have a right to know who is incarcerated, the conditions of their detention, and the justifications for their confinement. Family members deserve to know where their loved ones are. My grandparents fled repression and the disappearing of people by their own government. I never thought I'd see those tactics considered here in my own county. This is supposed to be a free country, and it's becoming like all these dictatorships. The world is watching. Please be on the right side of history, or you will be replaced by someone with the guts to stand up for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yvonne Lanza.
Hello.
Your name and address for the record, ma'am.
My name is Yvonne Lanza. My address is 121 Samore Avenue, Coral Gables. Thank you for having me here today. My uncle was a Holocaust survivor. 25 years I've had serving and protecting as a security officer. I lived in Germany. I visited Auschwitz. I was discriminated by just the color of my skin. I'm an American citizen born in Jersey City, New Jersey. I've worked in government buildings, and I've worked in festival and events with the people. I'm also a face painter. I'm here today.
Thank you, Ms. Lanza. Okay. All right, that is all the public speakers that I have registered to speak. So, public hearing is now closed. With that, I have public hearing is now closed. Public hearing is now closed. Can we turn off that mic, by the way? It's we do have a motion to defer and a second.
We can take questions on the deferral?
Yes, we will. Okay, thank you. I'm going to start with who has not spoken yet. Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you to all of the residents of Miami-Dade County that came out to speak on 1182. We appreciate your time and we appreciate your voice. I do have a few questions based on the representations that were made this morning, and our attorneys made clear that it is required that we sign this agreement under Florida Statute 908.106, which I completely understand. My question is the agreement that is attached a uniform agreement that all counties were required to sign, i.e. there was no opportunity to negotiate any changes within that agreement, including the provision that is of greatest concern for most of our residents, which is the public disclosure section? Can that be confirmed for me, please? Again, every county was presented with the exact same agreement with no opportunity to negotiate the terms of that agreement, particularly the public disclosure section?
That is our understanding, but I also defer to the administration.
Through the chair.
Yes, Chief, you're recognized, and you're recognized to answer a question and anything you'd like to put on the record.
Good morning. Thank you. Chief James Reyes, Chief of Public Safety of Miami-Dade County. So, Commissioner, you are correct. It was a universal template of a contract that was provided with each to each county. With that said, I'd like to put on the record that we as an administration are committed today and tomorrow and moving forward to remain as transparent as we are with our community. I've heard clearly here today the concern of public records and losing track of individuals that might be in our custody, but that are currently serving a detainer and have resolved all their charges. Our administration is committed, as we've been since day one, to remaining transparent and leaving the forward-facing website, the searchable directory. If individuals are in our custody, if they are in our jail, they will show in that directory, whether they have a detainer or they don't. That is our commitment, as it is to continue to work with third parties and custodians of records to ensure that we, along with the assistance of legal, are compliant with all public records laws.
And thank you for that commitment. But the item, including the public disclosure section, is extremely clear, and it says that the disclosure of that information is subject only to federal regulations. And so, to the same extent that we are mandated to sign this agreement, isn't it entirely possible that they could stop that public disclosure because this agreement doesn't say that it's up to us and it's up to our commitment made publicly. We're mandated to follow the rules that are outlined in this agreement. So isn't it entirely possible that should the administration say, no, we don't want that public-facing portal allowing families to have access to this information, that you would be forced to shut that down?
Commissioner, I'll defer the interpretation of that language to legal, but we have said time and time and again to the parties involved that we will remain as transparent moving forward as we are today. If it is a Miami-Dade record, our community will have access to that record. That doesn't mean that we do not have to work for other records with custodians of those records in order to release them or redact them accordingly. So I'll turn it over to the county attorney's office for their interpretation.
Yeah, can I have clarification of that? Because again, my concern is the same, I think, of everyone else's here, and I know it's the concern of the administration as well. But when we have mandates coming from either the state or the federal law that gives our community the level of concern that clearly this gives, and again, the voice of the residents that I heard was not an unreasonable one. They were focused on the public disclosure. I think they understand I think they understand what our obligation is, but the focus was on public disclosure. So in order to try and quell those concerns, my question to the attorneys are, again, I'm reading this public disclosure section. It's written very clear. It says basically like we control this information. By signing this agreement, the public disclosure of this information is only pursuant to the provisions of applicable federal law, not Miami-Dade County's law. So to the attorneys, my question remains the same. I understand and I appreciate that we're doing it now, but in the same way that we're mandated to follow this agreement and sign this agreement, is it possible that the transparency that we're offering right now may not continue to be the case moving forward? Is it possible that we get some sort of directive to shut that down to be consistent with the language in this agreement? That is my understanding of the concern voiced by the majority of the residents here today.
Commissioner, generally, contracts have to be interpreted in a way that is consistent with both state and federal law. So we cannot, by contractual provision, contract away state legal obligations or federal legal obligations. If something is a public record under Florida law, it will remain a public record under Florida law unless it has to yield to a federal law. Those, of course, will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, but I understand that only information obtained or developed as a result of this BOA. So records that are outside the scope of this basic ordering agreement, which is fairly narrow, don't come in within the scope of the public disclosures paragraph here.
Okay, so the concern, again, just to be very clear, expressed of losing family members in the system, not being able to access where they are, how to potentially visit them, see if they're okay, make sure that they're being treated well. That's not a concern that our residents should have here in Miami-Dade County under this BOA. Is that accurate?
So again, the language of the public disclosure, information obtained or developed as a result of this BOA. I don't know that that contemplates access to or information regarding inmates remaining in physical MDCR custody, that and access to those inmates, though that should continue to be controlled by MDCR procedures.
Okay, final question. Again, understanding the law and that our obligation has been made clear by our attorneys time and time again, that we are mandated to ratify this agreement. What happens if we do not? We are the largest county in the state of Florida out of the 67 counties, and likely the home to the vast majority of immigrants in the state of Florida. What happens to Miami-Dade County if we elect not to enter into this or ratify it, because I understand that it's already been signed? What is the consequence?
Well, Commissioner, I'll read once again from the state law that requires each correctional county facility to enter into an agreement or agreements with a federal immigration agency for temporarily housing persons who are the subject of immigration detainers, and most relevant here, for the payment of the costs of housing and detaining those persons. So that's an affirmative requirement under state law. It is a separate requirement under state law. I can pull up the language. That state and local law enforcement agencies use best efforts to support the enforcement of federal immigration law. I'm quoting from Chapter 108 of Florida statutes. So an agreement for the reimbursement for the payment of costs of housing needs to be entered into under state law. in the event that the county is not a party to such an agreement, there is an argument that we may be found in violation of state law.
To what consequence? I understand that there would be a finding in violation, but to what consequence? A lawsuit?
There are provisions for enforcement of Chapter 908 within Chapter 908. They're detailed in Section 908.107, and it provides that any executive or administrative state, county, or municipal officer who violates his or her duties under this chapter may be subject to action by the governor, including potential suspension of office and the exercise of his or her authority under the state constitution and state law.
Thank you for clarifying that. I have nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right. Commissioner Bermudez, we're on the deferral.
Yeah, it's on the deferral. I got a couple of questions. But now I'm utterly confused after Commissioner Cohen-Higgins asked those questions. I, too, have the same question of the county attorney's office, and I thank the mayor, Mr. Reyes, for taking the position that the information will be available. My big issue is the transparency aspect of it. But as Commissioner Gilbert mentioned, I also don't want to see us in a position where the mayor that's been duly elected by the citizens of Miami-Dade County, whether I agree or disagree with her on many different things, be removed because of this issue. So, you know, my question is very simple because, and let me go back to first to the attorneys, and then I was going to have questions of you guys, but you've answered them, and I'm clear, Mr. Reyes and Madam Mayor, that you feel that we should continue to provide those records and we will be transparent, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So the the question I have, piggybacking on Commissioner Cohen-Higgins' questions, is it, and you said Florida law, not federal law, is it your opinion, as the attorneys for this county, that we will be able to maintain the philosophy on being transparent that was previously expressed by the mayor and Mr. Reyes? Or do you believe that either the governor of this state can take action if we take that position against any elected member of this body?
Well, Commissioner, understanding your question to be, you know, does information regarding inmates in our custody, whether an inmate or any detainee is physically in our custody, is that something that can continue to be shared with the public even under the terms of the public disclosure? I don't read the public disclosure language in this basic ordering agreement to strictly prohibit that, no.
Okay, thank you. So that means that the information will still be there. That's how I understand it. Who's in our custody, correct? Okay. Now, my other question to the county attorneys, and this is some of the questions that were raised by Commissioner Hardiman and also Commissioner Bastien, and truthfully also by Senator Garcia. And by the way, I appreciate the chairman being extremely patient and trying to get, to be clear on what the rules are that are being applied. And to the point that we've had speakers today have represented the Cuban government that actually spoke, which is wonderful because that shows democracy works here. It doesn't 90 miles away where I was born. So, but my question to you as the county attorneys is, Commissioner Bastien asked a question, Senator Garcia then made a statement, and I want him to correct me if I misquote him, that the rules are X, so we have to follow those rules. But it is my understanding that this commission, by majority vote, can override the rules that has been in place by whoever the chairman or chairwoman is. Or am I mistaken?
There are provisions in your rules that relate to suspension of the rules by a supermajority vote. However, when we're discussing your rules regarding reasonable opportunity to be heard, those were drafted pursuant to state law. So you cannot suspend the requirements of state law.
But tell me what the requirements of state law. State law limits you to speak publicly only once?
Well, it doesn't limit you to speak once. What state law provides is that members of the public have a right to speak once on any proposition before the board, and there are a few exceptions to that. And so what has been done, so the practice of this board is to conform itself to state law, where every members of the public are afforded at least one opportunity to speak on any proposition or matter that's before the board. What this board has done in the past, at the discretion of the chair, is to afford more than one opportunity. And I believe that that's what was being discussed.
Okay, so in my hypothetical, which I'm going to give you, based on the comments that my colleague, Commissioner Bastien and Commissioner Hardiman made, if in fact public hearing had been open for one person as it was, and the item came back in front of us for a reason X, Y, or Z, which probably won't, but if it does, and the chair determined that you're telling me the chair would have to take the position at that point that there's already been public comment, no one else can speak, even though some of them left the room understanding there was going to be a deferral. And then part two of my hypothetical is, if in fact the chairman, and I'm not saying this chairman, it could be any chairman, took that position, you are saying that this body cannot, either through a majority or supermajority board in this case, override the decision of the chairman. Is that what you're telling me?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so tell me what you're telling me, because I understand we're a legislative body.
Yes.
And there's a wonderful mayor, there's a wonderful chairman, there's a wonderful vice chairman, but I don't think that I don't see why there should be a chilling effect on our opportunity to revisit issues. We don't have it on other issues. But tell me what you're telling me on my hypothetical.
Yes. So if the chair afforded reasonable opportunity today on 11A2, that would satisfy the requirements of state law, because reasonable opportunity to be heard had been afforded at least once on that item. When that item comes back, it would be initially up to the chair to determine if he wished to exercise his discretion to afford reasonable opportunity a second time. If this board disagreed with that decision, then this board has the ability to appeal the ruling of the chair and by majority vote.
Okay, so we're actually saying the same thing. Now you gave me the answer that because to me, and it has nothing to do with the chairman, I think he did a great job trying to get everybody to opine today. But to Commissioner Bastien's point, because I want her to understand, and Commissioner Hardiman, and I want the rest of this body to understand, including Senator Garcia, who asked the question. So the answer is yes. If there is a second opportunity, if this comes back, which I don't think it will, I hope it doesn't, as a matter of fact, to a certain extent, because we've been at this too long. If this comes back and the chairman, for whatever reason, says that was public hearing, Commissioner Bastien can make a motion to reopen the public hearing. If she gets a second and a majority of us to vote for it, then there will be a public hearing. Is that correct?
Of course, that's correct. And you know the answer to that question, Commissioner. We are speaking on the deferral. Those are hypotheticals. You know you have that right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
let's not do a political. Let's not do a political like.
No, Mr. Chairman, with all
dog
due
and
respect,
pony show. Like we all know what we're able to do and not. I mean,
No, listen.
Commissioner Bastien knows. Commissioner Bermudez. I mean,
I don't based on what Senator Garcia said, because he felt that was not the rules. But now I do. And again, I want to reiterate, this doesn't have to do with you. It could do with any chairman, chairwoman, whatever. So, okay, you answered the question. That's all. That's the question that I asked originally in my hypothetical. And I just want everybody to understand that, because if not, then we don't understand our own rules.
all right. With that, we have a deferral. We have a second. All in favor of the deferral signify by saying aye. All opposed on the deferral signify by saying no. All right. Show the item deferred. All right. We are now going to hear, because we have a public speaker on it, we are now going to hear item 11A3 and then 11A4. I will open up a public hearing for 11A3 and 11A4 and call up the speaker on those two items, which is Luisa Suarez. Again, state your name and address for the record, and you have a minute to speak.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Luisa, and I reside in District 3, 161 Northeast 42nd Street, Apartment 1, Miami, Florida, 33137. I'm here to oppose resolutions 11A3 to 11A4, only because I think it doesn't have enough information. And if we're concerned about a deficit in our budget, then why are we giving away surplus equipment from firefighters? Maybe I don't understand the language, and that is one of the problems of this resolution. So I ask that in whatever language and procedure, that it just comes back with better language, or that understanding, because again, if we're concerned about a deficit, I don't know why we would be giving away surplus equipment. And who is the one who defines surplus equipment? Does that not mean that it's in excess and it's functioning? And then when we have old equipment, should it not be replaced with that surplus? Thank you.
We're coming to you. All right. Thank you, Ms. Suarez. Public hearing is now closed on these items. So with that, Commissioner from District 2, as the pooling commissioner, you're recognized on 11A13. 11A3, I'm sorry, 11A3. I'm seeing extra numbers.
Mr. Chair, 11A3?
11A3.
Thank you so much. By the way, I was raising my hand earlier.
11A3, 11A4. Yeah, no, I know. For the fifth time, I know. For the fifth time.
Right. I wanna make sure that you get it. Okay. So, colleagues, I'd like to opine on 11A3 and 11A4, two items that I support, but both items authorize the donation of surplus firefighting equipment to the Cuerpo de Bomberos Villa Trina y Cuerpo de Bomberos Santo Domingo, Oeste de Dominican Republic. As you probably know, as a humanitarian, as someone who understands the importance of giving, I will not stand be in front of you to say, no, do not give this item to the DR. And, you know, especially if there is a dire need for these equipments to be used, and then especially if these equipments will be put in good use. So I commend you, Commissioner, for this item and the intent of the item. Miami-Dade County, as we know, has a proud history of global solidarity. I mean, we've built sister cities with nations around the world, and if we can offer life-saving assistance and equipments to communities in need, I'm all for it. However, I cannot support these donations without also raising my voice about a very troubling reality: the treatment of Haitian people and the black and brown in the Dominican Republic today. We have seen time and time again that Haitians in the Dominican Republic are too often denied the most basic human rights, including access to hospitals, education, housing, and yes, emergency services. This includes women in labor, and then we've seen many of them recently, and these are facts, being turned away from hospitals, bleeding to death while giving birth on their own, children being denied access to health care, Dominican-born citizens being denied birth certificates and deported to a nation in turmoil and at war, and families living in constant fears of discrimination and deportation. There is widespread and documented human rights abuses happening right now as we speak in the DR. And then I believe, colleagues, that this should not be ignored by a governing body, even though we understand the importance of being supportive, which I support, I repeat. If we as a county are to donate critical public safety equipment that could save lives, we must insist, Commissioner, we must insist that it be used in services to all people, regardless of race, ethnicity, or immigration status. I want to be clear. This donation must serve not only Haitians, Dominicans born of Haitian descent, but also all immigrants, especially the black and brown, that are being denied assistance today. Fire knows no border, and neither should humanitarian aid. Therefore, I urge the county mayor, I don't see her, I see her staff here, in executive the foreign firefighting entity donation agreement to include language, and I want to be sure of that, and I want to get assurance of that, to include language and obtain assurances that the equipment provided by Miami-Dade County will not be used in a discriminatory manner like is happening right now in the DR. The Cuerpo de Bomberos should uphold principles of non-discrimination, equal service provision, and human dignity in the deployment of this equipment. Now, we are not just voting on surplus equipment, we are voting on the legacy of how this county interacts with the world and whether our humanitarian aid upholds the same values we fight for here at home, which is justice, equality, and human rights for all, including whether you're black or brown, including if you were born in the Dominican Republic of Haitian descent. I ask my colleagues to stand with me in affirming that aid must never be blind to injustice. Let us vote with our conscience, and again, I already said that I'm going to support this, our values and our unwavering commitment to protecting all lives, Dominicans, Haitians, and Haitian Dominicans. Thank you so much, Commissioner, and for the intent of this item.
Absolutely. Mr. Chair?
You recognize. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for clarifications, so this was brought to me by the fire department. So what a surplus means, it means that legally, by standards of the fire department, we can no longer use that equipment because it would be a danger to our firefighters. And so if we keep the equipment, it costs us money to keep it. And so they have asked that this be donated to another country, in this case to the Dominican Republic, because they can refurbish it over there and they can make it to their standards over there. But if we keep it, it costs us money. Now, as to Commissioner Bastien, would you be amenable to actually? I agree with what you said. Would you like to add that as an amendment so that we can include it in the language? And county attorneys, if you can please let us know if we can include that as an amendment. And if you would like to make that amendment, I will accept that amendment. Make sure it's not used in any derogatory manner.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. Commissioner Regalado, you're recognized on 11A3. Right? This is Regalado? Yep.
11A3 is was pulled by Commissioner Bastien, and 11A4 Commissioner
Yeah, but
Bastien.
she spoke already, so. No, but 11A3 is your item, right? Oh, and 11A4. All right, so Commissioner Gonzalez, you're recognized for a motion? Did you do that?
I will make the motion.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Gonzalez as amended. As amended.
As amended. Did you get the amendment, County Attorney?
Yes, let me just clarify
You-
to amend 11A3 to amend the use of the item, which is for training purposes only, to include non-discriminatory provision. That the applicants for this equipment can only use it for training. They can't use it for actual firefighting. So I just want to clarify, do you want the amendment to be that the training cannot be discriminatory?
Huh?
I will defer to Commissioner Bastien.
So to be. So these equipments, I'd like you to clarify, is only for training. Yes, if it is for training, yes, the training will be provided to both. But from what I understood, it was these weren't only equipments for training. So I want to be clear.
It is
that I
only
was,
for training.
yes.
If I may, through the chair, the equipment is only
Ebb and
for
flowing conversation, guys.
right. So would you like to amend the item so that
Yes,
the training
yes.
will
Provide it
not
to all.
discriminate based on
Yes.
race or heritage?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we clear?
Yeah, I did move it, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved by Commissioner Gonzalez as amended. Seconded by Commissioner Bastien. All in favor, this is on 11A3. This is on 11A3. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. So item 11A3 passed. Commissioner Gonzalez moves 11A4. Seconded by Commissioner Cohen-Higgins. All in favor signify by
amended?
saying aye.
Ex-
All opposed, nay.
Excuse me, sorry. As amended, as the
As
same
amended.
Okay.
As amended.
As amended, there is, yes, that. All right.
Mr. Chair.
All in favor on 11A4, Commissioner?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right.
Mr. Chair, can I-
Regalado, which is the?
Before we get to mine, can I request to reconsider 8P1 since the maker's here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's
So I have
in.
so I have a motion
That's in
to-
zoning, though.
Well,
We're on BCC right now.
no, this is BCC.
It was BCC that we deferred.
It's a BCC. We did defer a zoning, but we passed 8P1, and we want to bring it back. So we want to reconsider 8P1 that was passed by the
Okay.
board.
Yep.
In consent. So I need a second for that.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Thank you.
Been moved. It's been seconded. Show it reconsidered.
All those in okay.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say all those in favor.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do
We
all
have to
those in favor.
vote.
Just to be clear, you gotta do all those in favor.
Yes,
You gotta vote on it.
all those in favor, and then we have to
Reconsider.
vote.
All right, we're all in agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. All right. Now, on the reconsideration, Commissioner Hardiman wanted to make some changes.
Yeah, I'd like to have a we want to defer it to no date certain. We're like 95% in agreement with some things. We just need to clarify some language. And so instead of putting it on the next agenda, I want to make sure that we make those changes and that we put it on the agenda and it'll be heard on that day. So the motion that I have is a motion to defer it, no date certain, to finalize our changes to it.
Okay, so it's been
Second.
moved. It's been seconded by Commissioner Regalado. All in favor with in definite deferral signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Show the item deferred. Okie dokie.
Now we can go to my item.
All right, what? No, you were wrong. Which is what's the item, Commissioner Regalado? Because I want to go straight to yours and I don't have it by
It's 803 and its supplements.
8L3 and all of its supplements. All right. All right. We have a full. You want to explain it first, Commissioner, before we go to the pooling commissioners? Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes. And first of all, I want to thank my colleagues. We had a very robust discussion about this at committee. We worked very hard with staff on bringing this item. And one of the things we discussed at committee was that this is long overdue, and we actually have support of the industry. And what we didn't want is to have to take money from the general fund to subsidize this department. So it's a necessary item for us to move forward. That being said, there was a concern about the equity. What was brought up is we didn't want to raise the fee on residents, but by law, we have to have an equitable fee. So what we were able to work out with the department and with the attorneys is a pilot program in which we provide different parameters for our residents so that there is no increase in these fees for our residents. And I also have a few other amendments that have come up as a result of that I would like our attorneys to read.
Yes, Commissioner. Commissioner Regalado moves to amend item 8L3 to revise implementing orders 4-63 and 4-111 as provided in Exhibit 2 to printed supplement number 2. The effect of this particular amendment is to accomplish a no-fee increase for the identified residential permit types pursuant to the pilot program. Commissioner Regalado further moves to amend item 803 with respect to implementing order 4-63 to provide 2 levels of review for new construction additions and alterations of detached single-family and duplex. The first option exclusive to owner builders, providing for a standard permit review period of approximately 20 business days at no increase from current fees. And the second option providing a fast-track permit review period of approximately 5 business days at the increased fee currently reflected in the item. Lastly, Commissioner Regalado moves to amend item 803 with respect to implementing order 4-111 to have no increase to the fees for non-use variance or administrative site development option residential one lot.
All right, show the item amended, and then Commissioner Regalado.
Yes, so I think it's a very comprehensive item. We covered everything that was discussed at committee and then some. And obviously, I'm happy to answer any questions. We have the support of the industry, and as was mentioned in committee when we did a presentation, it's really long overdue. We haven't looked at these fees in over a decade, and we needed to do so. So we would love to have your support. I think it's a very thoughtful item that we spent a lot of time on.
And I believe you have another amendment, Commissioner Regalado?
Yes, there's one more that our attorney needs to read.
Yes, related to the item, but this is a separate motion. Regarding item 803 and permit reviews, Commissioner Regalado moves to direct the county mayor designee to remove the Department of Health septic reviews from the concurrent initial review cycle until such time as delegation from the state occurs and the county is able to acquire the staff to provide timely dispositions of the implicated permit reviews. This will allow applicants to submit reworks and/or corrections a la carte after the completion of the initial review cycle by all other applicable agencies.
Thank you. And this one is just not to hold anybody up. So this helps us with the timing, and we spent some time with staff talking about it, and it is within the scope, but we're adding it as a separate amendment.
All right, so it's been moved as amended, seconded by Commissioner Steinberg, but I have some pulling commissioners. So given the amendments, if you pulled the item and you no longer need to speak on it because the amendments have clarified it, feel free to,
I have a question.
release your hold. Yes, you are one of the pulling commissioners, right? No? Okay, I'll go to you, but Commissioner from District 2, you recognized.
Yes, I was one of the pooling commissioners. My questions was answered through the amendment because my concern was about homeowners. Because everywhere we look throughout the county, people are suffering due to the high cost of living, especially those on fixed income. So any increase would have been very hard on them. So thank you for the amendment, and I appreciate it. And I will second it. I will vote for it.
Thank you. Commissioner from District 11, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just pulled this item because I want to congratulate a lot of folks that are working in that department. I think that this item, it came to Commissioner Regalado's committee. I think it's a great example of how things can get hashed out in committee for the benefit of homeowners. And I say that because my concern was very similar to Commissioner Bastian, right? I wanted to make sure that homeowners, and so did Commissioner Orbis, and so did Commissioner Regalado, we wanted to make sure that homeowners' fees did not go up. I know that this was a difficult task, so I see Director Gomez out there. If you could please stand up. Director Gomez went above and beyond to deliver for the homeowners of Miami-Dade County, and now their fees are not going to be increased. If we can get a wave of hands. I don't think the chairman allows for clapping, but so I just wanted to say
In the
thank you.
practice of the board, but you all can override me. Just saying. Just saying. We can clap if you guys vote by majority. I'm just saying.
And with that, I will second as soon as you move it.
All right, Senator Garcia, you're a pulling commissioner. Questions that you don't know the answer to this time.
I just want to reiterate. Not necessarily reiterating.
You're
Look,
recognized.
honestly, I came with the idea of voting no on it. And I do appreciate the amendments that were put together. I just want to make sure, be clear, because obviously we're entering some difficult budget times, and I understand. I just want to make sure it's on the record. If this does not happen, I understand, we are looking to ensure that continuation of growth and making sure that we have an expedited processing time for these permits. Knowing what's coming down the pike, if something like this does not happen, would there be a delay in permits? Would there be a bit delay in the permitting process, one, and number two? The burden of this cost has been defrayed from the homeowners to whom?
So through the chair, so first and foremost, the state requires us to be equitable in our fees. What we created was a pilot program for homeowners that allows them to do the process differently. And in that different process, there is a cost savings that we are then passing on to the homeowners. So there is equity in the fees as established by this ordinance. That being said, we've been working to digitize, to train, to have concurrent review. All those things have been happening in real time over the last 5 years, and this fee adjustment allows us to keep providing that service because we were getting to a point that without it, we would have to have reduced services. So by voting for this, what you're doing is ensuring that moving forward, not only do we do what we've been doing, but we do better as established by this ordinance. The only thing that I could add to that, as was mentioned in committee, is currently we are providing a series of free services to our residents that do not have contractors, that need assistance. And this ordinance also eliminates a lot of the permit requirements for smaller issues that have come up before this board. So in this item, what we're doing is we're keeping the fees flat for our residents. We're increasing them for developers based on the market rates that are still below municipalities. We're continuing to provide free services for our residents. We're ensuring that there is an expedited and concurrent review, and we're dealing with the few hiccups that have come up in terms of timing, and that's in the amendments.
All right, Commissioner from District 12.
I've got a couple questions. First of the attorneys and then of staff. From the attorney's perspective, does this pass legal muster from the perspective that there's no the distinction between, let's say, a larger commercial project and a single family home being treated differently?
Yes, Commissioner. The way that the differential fees are laid out, as Commissioner Regalado alluded to, is to still be based on the amount of staff effort, but through automations and other measures, staff is able to, for the smaller homeowner reviews, accomplish them with less effort.
Okay, then before I go to Director Gomez, because I do have a question for her, when we talk about single-family homes, we could be talking about someone who is making an addition to a home in a smaller area. Take your pick, Little Havana, Kendall, whatever. But we could also be talking about somebody in Indian Creek. So how does this apply to somebody in Indian Creek?
Through the chair, I don't think we can distinguish them.
I understand that, but when we talk about single-family homes, I want to know the distinction, because every time we talk about these things, there's a big difference between an addition to a small home to building a brand-new home in any part of this county. Many of those homes are up there, so if we can't distinguish them, which I think Commissioner Regalado knows that's the answer, correct? Okay, then my question to Director Gomez would be, how do we maintain efficiencies across the board, including on the residential side, when we are creating essentially a two-tiered system? I'm going to support the item because it helps the residents, but I want everybody to understand that if we talk about efficiencies, you know, it can't be based on the whim of trying to solve everybody's problems. So my concern is and continues to be, and Lourdes, maybe you can answer it. If your answer is it will not impact your ability to make your department more efficient, as you committed at the Government Efficiency and Transparency Committee about 3 months ago. So my question is, will this make it harder for the department to continue to be more efficient?
We're going to be monitoring. That's why the commissioner described it as a pilot. So certainly to the extent that any adjustment is required in the future, we will obviously come back to you, and that authority is with this body. But we do think that based on the level of effort, as has been explained by the attorney and Commissioner Regalado, we are going to be able to achieve the needed savings because the level of effort is different, and that is what the state law requires for building fees, and that's why we're able to justify it, to your point. Thank you.
Just one last question. The state law gives you up to 30 days, correct? And our goal is not going to be to take 30 days, correct?
No, we beat that today significantly, as you know.
I know.
We're 5 and 10.
With this, you're still going to track it.
We are
correct?
Absolutely. Yes, that
pilot program or not,
yes.
Commissioner Regalado visiting you 3 times or not, you are going to track this program, correct?
Absolutely.
Because I feel comfortable as long as you track it and it shows that it's effective. If it doesn't, if we're looking for efficiencies, then we need to revisit this issue.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Commissioner Orbis.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I want to echo the comments by Commissioner Gonzalez. I know that we shared some of the same comments at the committee, and we were able to move the item along and spoke to Lourdes, and I appreciate your input and also your help in alleviating our anxieties about this item. My question to Lourdes, and we had discussed this, but I have a lot of conversions that are coming to District 6 as far as septic to sewer, and I just want to make sure that those residents who are already not excited about a mandatory requirement, that they will not be impacted through this change, because the cost will add up for them eventually.
Yes, these amendments, as we discussed, cover that scope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bastian, before we close it up.
Yes, thank you so much. Lourdes, I have a question for you. Since we're talking about improvements, we all agree that our permitting process takes too long, too long. What are you doing to make sure that we improve that?
So we've made significant improvements over the years, and I think that was kind of the gist of Commissioner Bermudez's concern, that he knows that we already beat the state time frame of 30 days by, we do 5 and 10 days already to this, right now. So that is, we're gonna be able to maintain the level of service even with these adjustments, and that I know is important it's important to every resident and every business and industry as well, because they know that they have lower carrying costs because our time is proven to be faster.
Does that answer your question, Commissioner? Commissioner Regalado?
Yes, it
Would
does.
you like to move the item?
Yes, yeah, we did. We have moved it with a second. So you still have one.
1 second.
Yeah.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. And I appreciate the elegance of your solution, Commissioner Regalado. This is Rembrandt. This is Rembrandt right now. This is Picasso. It's elegant. I just want us to be mindful and just put in layman's terms what we're doing. We're creating essentially a 2-tiered system where businesses move faster than our single-family homes. That's what we're doing. So that we don't. You're calling it. No. Yeah. I just. When you say the permit fees hadn't been adjusted for 10 years, one of the things I think that we do as elected officials, and we all do it, we try to minimize costs, and in minimizing costs, we create a paradigm in folks' minds that things will never go up and they shouldn't go up. That's just simply not true. In her department, over those 10 years, folks got cost of living increases. People got cost of living increases. The cost to run things go up. When the cost to run things go up, the permits that support the underlying service goes up. So we can try our best to minimize that. But what this is doing is I read them, and I actually like it. What it's saying is, hey, businesses, you'll pay the increased cost. And residents, you can pay a reduced cost of business. You get it done quicker, and residents, you get it done a little slower. We'll still beat the state law, but we're going to do it a little slower. And we can do that for this, but as we approach a difficult budget year with the administration, the understanding that as the price of things go up, the price to provide the service go up, the fee has to go up at some point. And so when we say things like, I'll never raise a fee, I can appreciate that sentiment because none of us ever want to raise a fee. But if the fee is based on something like, I don't know, gasoline prices, and gasoline prices go up, and it's in a proprietary system, then the fee goes up. And I've had these conversations. I know the people who serve on a municipal level, the good mayor over there, the good chairman of Miami City Commission over there, we understand that when we're actually in our fee-based mode, that the fee-based mode, in large part, has to track with what it costs to run the system. And so I like this solution. It's very elegant. But it's dangerous in that it perpetuates something that fundamentally, as public administrators and public policymakers, we know not to be true. We know that at some point, the fee has to go up. The fee has to go up. And so as we start these conversations about fees, I make it's simple because a resident asked me about it in Publix. And what I said was, well, we're about to buy this loaf of bread. Now, last year, this loaf of bread was $3.65. This year, same loaf of bread, it's $3.71. They didn't give me an extra slice. They just increased the cost because gas went up to port the bread, or the salaries who person who make the bread went up. They increased the cost. At some point, that conversation is going to have to be had on this dais with regard to fees. This is a brilliant and elegant solution by Commissioner Regalado, who is in the weeds on everything. But there's come a point where that magic runs out. And when that magic runs out, it'll be time to pay the piper. And that'll be reducing services or raising fees. Reducing services, because we say reducing services. In most instances, reducing services will be reducing the people who provide the services. So we need to all capture that reality and start to dwell on it. But I will say I'm supportive of this, Commissioner Regalado. Very good job. Very good job.
Thank you, Commissioner Regalado. One moment, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege to recognize the young ambassador interns of District 9. Can you all just stand up and be recognized by this board? Staff, commissioners, these are the members of my intern corps. It's out of District 9. These are the young ladies and men who actually go out through the community day in and day out and work on behalf of the great people of District 9, and I wanted them to come and see the process in full action. And they have to get on the Metro Rail back south and also get some lunch, so that's why I want to recognize them now. So thank you so much.
Yay. Wonderful.
Thank you. Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you for joining us. So I moved it. I got a second. Madam, can we take a vote?
All in favor?
As amended. Aye.
Aye. All against? So the item passes.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lourdes. Wonderful job.
Thank you, Lourdes.
Commissioner Bermudez, do I see that you pulled 802?
Hold on, Mr. Wright. Yeah, I did. And I'm going to support the item, and I want to certainly thank Commissioner Milian Orbis for moving this along. My only point, and I don't know, Roy is back there, or maybe Jimmy can answer this. My only point that I want to reiterate is when we went through the vote and we discussed the airport hotel issue, we found that we did not have access to a lot of the underground information as to what's underground. We then passed an ordinance, which I proffered based on that, to make sure that moving forward, when these jobs are done, there is a place where the county maintains these records. So looking at this item, and again, I'm supportive, I'll second the motion from Commissioner Milan Orbis, it says here that during exploratory digging, previously unrecorded underground utilities were found in direct conflict with the proposed gravity sewer system. So what I would like to know, and I don't know if it's from the director, I don't know if it's Roy, I don't know if it's Jimmy, are we
Commissioner Bermudez, can I just
maintaining these things?
Can I just ask for one moment, please? Please, can we have your undivided attention for Commissioner Bermudez, please? I can wait. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost done.
Are we, Roy? Are we keeping a record of these things as we agreed to by ordinance about a year ago? Because this is the example of what concerns me. You know, exploratory digging showed previously unrecorded underground utilities. And this is why we are going to end up having to, you know, obviously pay more money, et cetera. Or are we doing it? Are we not doing it? Or
Through the chair.
Yes, you're recognized, sir.
Commissioner, for the record, Roy Coley, Chief of Utilities and Regulatory Services. Yes, we are in full compliance with your directive. In this particular case, the underground utility that was identified was not a county-owned asset.
Roy, give me one moment. Listen, now I'm asking that you give him the same respect and attention that you've given others. Please, we're almost done. Thank you. Continue, sir.
Sir, this particular underground conflict was telecommunications. It was not ours, so it was not a product of us not having proper locations of our assets. In this case, we did, and we are in compliance and tracking your directive. The bigger cost in this item was there was an underground leaking valve that was not known, and when the contractor exposed it, had great concern we could suffer catastrophic failure and moved into an emergency mode to repair it.
so, and I'm going to support it again. I'm just for thought. Moving forward, when something like this happens, and we now know that there was an underground utility that we were not aware of, and maybe others weren't aware of, obviously the contractor wasn't, what are we doing to maintain those records?
Sir, what happens to us quite often in this situation is we design an underground pipeline, and by the time it takes the year to complete the design, and then we spend 2 years in procurement and permitting, after it's been designed, other utilities such as fiber optics or electric will come in, and they will then become a part of the route, and they were not there when we first designed it, and then we find them when we get there. And so we get caught in that occasionally, and it's just the cost of doing business for us because we can't know that those things are there if they're put in after we design. And so that, and right now our telecommunications companies have pretty free reign to install at will, and that the county actually doesn't have much authority to slow them down. They can just go install wherever they want to.
Yeah, I'm aware because it happened on 58th Street with FPL, and it's delayed our project on 58th Street. So so I don't know. It's not for discussion today, but food for thought. I think that we need to do something as a commission, at least in Miami-Dade County, to try to make sure we can't keep them from telecommunications companies and others from doing this because state law may limit us. But we should do something about maintaining a record because things like this happen to us, and then it costs us a lot more money. So I'm supportive of it. I'll second the item.
Thank you. Commissioner Orbis, would you like to move your item?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. All against? Item passes. 8P3, Commissioner Gonzalez, it appears that you're the one who pulled this item. Commissioner Bastian, is this your item?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the reason I pulled this item is, I guess I just have some questions. I don't know if maybe we can get somebody from the housing department, but I read an article this morning that basically states that we have a freeze in issuing Section 8 vouchers, right? And I do think, you know, the Section 8 vouchers is something that's really important, but the article states that there's a freeze in issuing these vouchers because there's a $77 million shortfall in the allocation for Miami-Dade County. And so I'm concerned because we're about to vote to give a contract to a company that is in charge of those vouchers. We're going to give them $37 million, but we have a shortfall of $77 million. And this company, their contract expires in 4 days. So, Director, can you please just explain, because I'm a little confused right now.
Absolutely, and I'll start with the shortfall question.
Nathan, say your name for the record, please.
Nathan Kogan, Interim Director, HCD. So let me address the shortfall question first. So shortfall is the lack of funding that is the housing agency receives to subsidize those vouchers. So every year, HUD gives a certain amount of dollars for the equivalent number of vouchers that we have. Shortfall is not uncommon because the previous year, there's an estimate from the previous year, and HUD looks at the following year and they extrapolate to see how much funding is needed. So it's always an estimate, and usually there are shortfalls that occur. HUD has a shortfall team that works with jurisdictions such as ours when there's a shortfall, and then they would add additional funding for it. So this year there's a large national shortfall. It's a significant shortfall. It's affecting approximately 800 public housing authorities. In February, we received notice that there could be a potential shortfall, and the estimate at that time was approximately $77 million. It is not $77 million.
Wait, so you're saying that in February, we were told that there was a shortfall?
In February, we were made aware, in the same manner as all public housing agencies, that there could be an estimated shortfall.
That there could be or that there was?
Could be, because it's an estimate at that point. So we work with HUD's shortfall team. We meet with them regularly. We also work with our contractor, Nan McKay, to analyze our operations and where we could find savings. So that shortfall number is approximately $45 million at this point.
And are we issuing vouchers now?
So what happens is, as part of a shortfall prevention, we do not issue new shortfalls. So as we have attrition, as people leave the program, we do not reissue that voucher. Again, that's separate from our project-based vouchers, which we've recently opened up, where the voucher runs with the individual unit. This is dealing just with the housing choice or the tenant-based voucher. So as we go through attrition, we cannot issue the voucher. We still have the voucher, we just can't fund that voucher. Now, until we get to the next fiscal year, as we look at funding, we'll have that voucher still available, and should the funding be appropriate, we can then issue that tenant-based voucher.
Right, but if we don't have the funding for the voucher, even if we have the voucher, I mean, we can't give the voucher.
As we go through this, and again, this is a fluid process. We will know more in the next upcoming months of how we're going to be funded, and we expect that there will be additional funding, and we have these cost measures or cost-saving measures. Yes, it is possible that as we get to the next fiscal year, we would have just a reduction in the total number of vouchers.
Got it. You know, Director, I'm just going to be transparent and honest with you. I don't appreciate finding out about these things in the Miami Herald. I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for the rest of my colleagues, but I would much rather, have this information come from you. Is there any way that we can get updates on that shortfall? If it's okay with the chair of the Housing Committee, can we get updates to the Housing Committee on the process of that shortfall, where we're at and how we're going to remedy it?
Absolutely. We're currently working with the mayor's office to delineate where we are at this point and what we're doing to remedy the situation and where we are. So absolutely, we will be providing updates.
All right. I have no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Move it.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Seeing the item moved, seeing the item second, all
I've got a question.
discussion. Commissioner Bermudez.
Just a quick question, Nathan. This is reading this was a 5-year contract, right? So this is now the additional, this is the 6th year for this entity, is that correct?
That's correct. This is an extension. It's an extension for 1 year.
Of the original, because the original was 2, as I read it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was a 2-1-1-1, correct?
Correct.
So this is past the 2-1-1-1.
Correct.
This is an additional year.
Correct.
So are we going to actually put it out to bid at some point?
So that's a great question. We are already out to bid. We will close the bidding this month. It's a new, and it's a it's a new type of performance-based. It's a performance-based type contract where we have incentives to meet certain metrics.
Okay. But and then the only other thing I'd say, I agree with Commissioner Gonzalez. I don't like finding out these things like I did with the airport, whatever they call it now, Collier County Airport, which is in my district, and I found out from the Daily Mail on Wednesday and then from the Miami Herald yesterday, I believe. It'd be good to have these things told to us beforehand, including by the county attorney's office, the administration and the departments.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commissioner Bermudez. Commissioner Bermudez, were your questions answered? Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Against? Shows item passes through. I think that's it, Madam Attorney. Thank you. Commissioner Gilbert, recognized for a motion.
I think we still have 14A2 and 14A3.
Yes. No.
Commissioner Bermudez pulled 14A2, and you had no polling commissioners on 14A3. So
Commissioner Bermudez, you pulled
I pulled it as
14A2.
It's my item, but it's very simple. I'll move to amend item 14A2 to add the assignment of contract, which I think all of you should have a copy, to the replacement parcel purchase agreement attached as Exhibit G to the exchange agreement, beginning on page MDC079. And I want to thank the mayor's office for working with us on trying to get this, which is a great opportunity, not only for animal services, but for affordable housing in our county. And I also want to thank the applicant for working to do what we always say we're going to do. And even though it took a lot of discussion, we got there. So I'd move it with the amendment as proffered.
Hearing it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Listen, Commissioner Bermudez, I really appreciate the work that you do, and I think, Commissioners, if you give me 1 minute, I need your attention on this. We've made a couple of comments here about the administration not giving information back to us. And as chairman of the committee that oversees animal services, not one time did anyone speak to me. Not one person, and Commissioner Bermudez, we can't. So this is not impugning on your work, so I appreciate the work that you have done here. But this is something that is happening more and more often, where we as commissioners are bypassed, especially in our respective fields of policy, and to me, this is an insult. I recognize, and this is not only putting the administration on notice, it's also putting the individuals that have been working on this, because I get a call on this item yesterday about the importance of having it passed. It has to pass because of all the things that need to happen because of deadlines, and understanding that this issue could be 4-day ruled. I'm not going to 4-day rule it, but I think it's not only for the administration, but for everyone in the audience and those that work with us today and in the future. Make sure that you talk to the respective commissioners. Make sure that we know what's happening in our field, and don't wait till the last minute to bring this and then expect us that we're backed against the corner because of deadlines to vote for something. So one question that I do have to the administration: when was the first time that this item came before the administration, or how long has the administration been working on this item?
Good afternoon. Sorry.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Senator Garcia, thank you.
State your name for the record and position. Thank you.
Annette Jose, Director of Department of Animal Services. The discussion on this item actually started a couple of years ago with the previous director when we were looking for opportunities for the Medley facility, which we know needs some updating. So some conversations started back then. Pen to paper, I don't think started until less than a year ago. We started to move quickly.
That's it. Members, thank you very much. About a year, they've been talking about this item. A year. And now is that yesterday, I get a call from the people, the interested parties on this, to let us know what is happening. Because folks know that I'm a big 4-day ruler guy in the past. Sorry, Commissioner Gilbert. Oh, in the past, actually, I wasn't so much with you. It was a couple of years back. But anyway, but the reality is, the administration, I would hope, moving forward, we respect the legislators, the legislative process, and I would hope that information gets shared with us and with me on a timely basis so we are aware of what is happening in this community. With that, members, I move the item, and I hope that you all are with me in making sure that we put everyone on notice that we need to respect the commission, this body, and individual commissioners, and the chairman of the respective committees. So I move the item, and good job, Commissioner Bermudez, on doing it.
Any item moves, any item second. All in favor? Aye. All against? Item passes. Madam Attorney, 1483, there were no pulling attorneys, but it looks like it's Commissioner Orbis's item.
I'm not sure who the sponsor is, but there were no polling commissioners on 1483. Commissioner Milian Orbis was the sponsor.
I think that passed already.
So it passed already, Madam Attorney?
No, we just need a motion and a second and a vote.
I'll move it.
Move the item.
Second.
Second, hearing first, it's in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Item passes.
All right, Madam Attorney, what other business do we have for the day? We have some
We
motions?
have some motions and maybe allocations.
All right, you want to go ahead and start with the motions at your pleasure?
Sure. We'll start with Commissioner Gilbert's motion.
This one.
Sure.
Commissioner Gilbert moves to amend resolution number R-158-24 to decrease the amount of funds for in-game and event-related in-kind services to be
Quiet in the
provided,
back, please.
to be provided
Quiet in the
by
back.
Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Department for fiscal year 2025-2026 for the 2026 College Football National Championship game from $1 million to $100,000. Commissioner Gilbert further moves to direct the county mayor's designee to work with the sheriff's office to facilitate an allocation of $900,000 of legally available funds for the provision of in-game and event-related in-kind services for the 2026 College Football National Championship game, so that such allocation is reflected in the sheriff's fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
Mr. Chairman, this doesn't
Recognize.
increase the money that's going to the national championship game. We previously authorized $1 million for in-kind services. We put that all in fire with anticipation that we would have the constitutional officers split out. We know that, especially with the security concerns that we're presented with now, we know a good portion of that needs to be spent with the sheriff. And so this doesn't increase the amount at all. It just leaves $100,000 with fire for in-kind services, and we take $900,000 and send it to the sheriff for in-kind services. With that, that's the item. I move the item.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Gilbert. The motion, right? The motion's been moved by Commissioner Gilbert. It's been seconded by Commissioner Orbis. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Show the item passed. Madam Attorney, next motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bastian, by Commissioner Regalado, and Commissioner Hardiman. Would you like me to take them in that order?
You can take them in that order, in another order. You can take them together, separate, however you want to take them.
Commissioner Bastien moves to appoint Leslie Del Monte to the Biscayne Bay Shoreline Development Review Committee.
It's been moved by Commissioner Bastien, seconded by the Vice Chair. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Show the motion passed. Next motion.
Commissioner Hardiman moves pursuant to Rule 5.06A4 of this board's Rules of Procedure to extend for 90 days the approval period for all legislative requests eligible for an extension made by Commissioner Hardiman.
Second.
Show the motion moved, seconded by the Vice Chair. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Next motion.
Commissioner Regalado moves pursuant to Rule 5.06A4 of this board's Rules of Procedure to extend indefinitely the approval period for all legislative requests eligible for an extension made by Commissioner Regalado.
Move it.
Show it moved by Commissioner Regalado, seconded by Commissioner Orbis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Madam Attorney.
Any other allocations or appointments?
We got the Vice Chair.
My appointment is to the Cultural Arts Affair Board for District 9, Her Media.
All right, show it moved. The appointment moved. Do you have an appointment as well? No. No. So show that appointment moved, seconded by Commissioner Bastien. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Show that member appointed to Cultural Affairs. Commissioner Gilbert, you're recognized for another motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On February 19, 2025, the Board of County Commissioners approved a motion introduced by Commissioner DCH Danielle Cohen-Higgins, directing the county mayor and her designee to identify $250,000 in legally available funds in the 2024-2025 budget to go to the Department of Cultural Affairs for the development of the Florida Black History Museum. There's been some challenges in drawing that money down from the organization that's working with it because we didn't actually name the organization in the item. So this motion is just, I move that we allocate that money that's already been allocated. We designate it for North Group, which is located at 490 Opelika Boulevard, Suite 20, Opelika, Florida, 33054. They are the organization that's spearheading the African American History Museum with the state. They're the organization that has actually been working with the state, and they're the organization that's being funded by the state. Yes, I'm just naming
Quick question.
Second.
Quick question.
You're recognized, Commissioner.
Who were you taking the money from?
We're not taking it from anyone.
Well, what was the money that was not spent? From where?
Well, it wasn't spent. It was allocated in our budget, I believe. Yeah, for $250,000 for this purpose. And so, but we didn't name the organization to send it to, and so it's been held up between Cultural Affairs and the Attorney's Office. Even though the only group working to bring the African American Museum with the state and with us is the 10 North Group.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, show the motion passed. Any other motions or appointees or allocations? All right, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank everyone for their support on that motion made by Commissioner Gilbert. The motion that was originally made didn't specify a name because we were told that it didn't require a specific name and that the delegated authority was within the administration's power to make that payment accordingly. And so I'm not sure. I appreciate Mr. Commissioner Gilbert's move to have this move along, but if commissioners are communicating with the attorneys and the department, it shouldn't have to get to this level in order to move things along. Because it's my understanding that he didn't need to make that motion. It could have been done through the delegated authority of the administration. Is that correct through the attorneys? That's what we were told.
I don't know the answer, but I will circle back and I'll give you a call with the answer.
Thank you.
I think that it probably should have and could have been made through delegated authority too. The challenge is that it wasn't, and now they're in danger of losing state money because of it.
Well, it passed, so congratulations to all of you and all of us that wanted to and voted for this. So, all right, any other motions or allocations? Any other points of personal privilege?
Point of personal privilege. Thank you to our chairman for managing a difficult meeting, and thank you to our law enforcement officers for keeping our chambers in order during today's hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I echo that. Anybody else want to say anything? Or you good? Not so fast, there, Steinberg. Do the attorneys want to say anything or clarify any information?
Mr. Chair, I mean, I brought lunch. If you want to talk some more, like.
Show us adjourned.
Yeah, you said adjourned fast.
Repairs and fines and violates the building code. Remember, permits equal protection.